Oh, hey y'all. Come on in. Well, first of all, let me get my ear because I don't need none of this. Hey, Deborah, how are you? Y'all, come on in. Share this. Share this live for me. Share this live. Hey, Krista. Y'all, come on in and share this live for me. I'm gonna give it a couple of minutes. Give it a couple of minutes before I say what I need to say, and so I can continue with my day. It's a beautiful Monday. Y'all, the sun is shining. It was a little crispy this morning. Hey, Red. Hey, William. Hello. Hey, Billie Jean. Yep. Just give everybody an opportunity to come in here because I don't want to have to repeat myself when I start talking. I'm gonna get it out, and then I'm gonna go ahead and go on by my day. All right, so y'all, please share. I'm going to respond. I'm gonna respond to story time. Yep, I'm gonna respond. Yep. I know, right? Happy Monday. It feel like a Monday. Hey, Joycelyn, how are you? Hey, Darrence. Thank you, Jean. I love you. Appreciate you too. Y'all come on in. It is, Joyce Will said it's a beautiful day. You know, it is. I promise you. Yeah. I think Tiffany, I think I got. I'm gonna do my best. I think I get it. Y'all can I should have put it on here that I was gonna address this and then move on, go on by my business. But I'm going to address Domonique since she wanted to do story time, and you all know that when I address things, I come with facts and receipts if I need to show them. So I'm gonna have this conversation, and then I'm gonna keep it moving. Hey, Missy. Yeah. How you need? I know. Yep. All right, y'all can share. And I just wanted to touch on a few things here, and then I'm gonna go on about my business. So by now, I'm sure. Well, you may not have. I don't know if you guys watch her page or whatever the case may be, but I've had a couple of conversations on today, making me aware that my stepdaughter, Domonique, has made a video about, I guess, supposedly, she wanted to still tell story time about what has transpired between the two of us over the course of time since Thaddeus passing. And I'm going to address this, and I want to choose my words. I want to be very, very, very clear with this conversation, and I want to make sure that she understands, that I'm not playing. Okay, so I didn't run to Facebook. To say, hey y'all, now that everything is over, just want to let y'all know that, that Domonique and I are no longer communicating or talking to each other. I didn't do that because at the end of the day, that wasn't the case. That was never my intent yes, some things have transpired here recently, or over the course of the last few weeks. Hell, this is what, September 8th, so I want to say this stuff transpired in July, right? Okay. So yep, and you're gonna keep on hearing it. All right. So and let me tell you something, read out here is because I'm really trying to choose my words wisely because my blood is boiling at this particular moment. But let me just go ahead and address the situation. So yes, you all saw on her page, my page, her dad's page, of course, that she was writing a book. Kudos. I supported it 100%. Truth be told, if she tells the truth, she will let you all know that I was the one that put her in touch with the publishing company to begin with. She also received a discount because of the fact that I introduced her to them. So, number one, there is no jealousy on my end because you're writing a book. Kudos to you. Anybody that feels like they want to write a book and tell their story, you absolutely, you definitely can do that. And I'll support. If I know you, even if I don't know you, if I think it's a good book, I'm going to read it, okay? So, number one, let me clear up. I'm not jealous about a book being published, okay? Let's just go ahead on and throw that on. Let that fly on out there with the birds, okay? I'm not jealous about a book. Prior to me moving out of the home with Thaddeus, I made the statement or the announcement that I was going to write a book. I said that I was going to write a book when Thaddeus released his book, and he didn't tell 100% the 100% truth as far as our relationship, as what our relationship was in his book. Of course, his book was written to make him look good, right? So when he first released his book, I said, don't worry about it. I'm going to write my own book, and I'm going to tell my own truth. And I meant that, okay? Now, let's just fast forward on down the line. Yeah, things transpired between Thaddeus and I, and it got really, really, really nasty. And I found out some things, and I was like, okay, you know what? Yeah, let me go ahead and get this book started. So I started writing my book. I moved out last May from Thaddeus, and I started writing my book in June, I want to say, of last year, June, July-ish. I started writing my book. And during the course of that, y'all been around, so y'all know how ugly things got between me and Thaddeus, right? And so it was just a lot of back and forth. It was a lot of negativity, and it was just ugly, okay? And it took its toll, not on just him, but it also took its toll on me. Okay. And health-wise, it really started, the bickering back and forth between he and I really started making his health just go down, decline. And so I had some conversations, and I made the decision to pause on my book. Number one, not only just for his sake, but for mine as well, okay? So if I wanted my book to have been done, published, and out there, it could have been done months ago. But I chose to pause. After he died, my publisher was like, Melanie, we need to go ahead on and get back out there. We need to go ahead and get this book out there. The people want the book. But I had to get myself together. And I felt like my health was more important to me than trying to put a book on a shelf, or trying to put a book online or in a bookstore. So it's not about money. What's the quickest way to get $1? Okay. So that's why I paused. That's why my book is not finished, because I've been trying to get myself together. So that's that on that book. Is it coming? Absolutely. But just wanted to give y'all that. Let me go and check that off book. All right. So in story time, you painted a picture as though you woke up one morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and you discovered that you had been blocked from your dad's page. You've been blocked from your dad's page, and you immediately started crying hysterically. You fell on the floor and all this kind of stuff. You was beside yourself because you had been blocked from your dad's page. It was a total shock to you. So let's talk about what led to me blocking you off your dad's platform, okay? There were some events that transpired leading up to that. I didn't just wake up and say, you know what, I think I want to block Domonique off her dad's platform today. That's not what happened. So when we tell stories, let's go ahead on and let's tell it. Let's tell the whole entire thing, right? Let's put it out there. All right. So you made a comment. You were, of course, 3, 4, 5 times a day. Of course, yeah, you promoting your book as you should, right? But it's not my responsibility to basically act as though I'm your publisher. I'm not your personal secretary, which is what I told you. So no, y'all, anybody that follow me on my page, y'all know I don't post every day. I don't post on Facebook every day. I don't see sometimes, I mean, even with my immediate family, they may post up, I might see it 5 or 6 days later because I'm not on Facebook like that all the time. Zena, okay, sorry y'all. Zena. But yeah, because I'm not on Facebook like that, okay? So if you posting 5 or 6 posts every day talking about your book, that doesn't mean that I'm seeing it. If it comes across my timeline, yes, I would share it. I'll share it to my page. I would share it to your dad's page. But at the same time, like I said, listen, I work every day, okay? I'm in front of a camera all day long, every day. So I'm not on Facebook like that to where I'm just sitting and say, okay, let me go out here and see if Domonique posted anything about her book today. Let me go out here and see if Domonique said anything about the fact she grieving her daddy. That wasn't me. And I told you that. If you come down my line and I see it, yes, I tag it. I also explained to you and said, listen, I don't pull up your daddy's page every single day because when I go on your dad's page, people are tagging me. They tag me and I said, it's triggering. I don't want to be reminded every single day that Thaddeus is gone. Or I don't want every time something happened in Memphis, people, if Thaddeus Matthews was here, he'll do this. I'm trying to get myself together. I didn't want to see that every day. So no, I was not going on your dad's platform. Not for them, not for you either. And I would have thought that you would have understood that. I never said that you couldn't grieve your daddy. So let's just be real, and you need to be honest, completely honest about it, okay? And it's pissing me off because you ran to social media trying to paint this damn picture like somebody telling you that you can't grieve your daddy. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody trying to tell you that you can't grieve your daddy. Right? Callie, I don't have to block. I ain't got to block myself. That's his page. I got access to that page. Ma'am, I ain't got to block you if you don't like what I'm saying. All right? But anyway, what led to the blocking of the page was this. You and I, we had a group chat, and you know that, okay? Me, you, Jocelyn, and Crystal, we had a group chat. We talked to each other every single day in that group chat, encouraging each other, sending positive vibes. Hey, today gonna be a good day. You know what I'm saying? Like, you okay? It's okay if you're not okay. We were meeting up with each other, all that stuff, okay? So let's just go ahead and let's talk about what happened. You posted that you were going to be promoting your book and that you were going on some podcast, okay? And let me say this to the young lady whose podcast that she went on. One thing I'll never do is try to tear down another sister, okay? Or another woman, all right? So I don't want the young lady, can't remember your name at this moment, but anything that I'm about to say is in no way, shape, form, or fashion a dig at you. I'm just telling the truth as to how things happened and why they happened, okay? So you made the comment and you said that you were going on a podcast to promote your book. And then you also said that some other guy had reached out to you, wanting you to come on his show. And you said this sitting in my living room, well, my den, me, you, and Jocelyn, okay? We're sitting in the living room, in the den, and we're talking about it. And the first gentleman name that you gave me, you said you was going on his show. He said him and my daddy been friends over 11 years, da, da, da. So what's his name? You gave me the man's name. I got your daddy's phone. And I pulled up the man's name. And I said, girl, I said, first of all, I said, this man got, This man got like, I want to say maybe not even 2,000 followers. And then I was like, not only that, I said the last time this man, your daddy, even had a conversation, I said was back in 2018. I said, if they were such good friends, why your dad and this man ain't talked in over 7 years? I said, that man trying to use you, Domonique. I said, don't let him do that. I said, now one thing your daddy, if he ain't taught us nothing else, he taught us to make sure that if you gonna let somebody, you're gonna do something with somebody, make sure that there's something that you're gonna be able to get out of it. I said, you trying to promote your book. Don't let these folks use you. You know what I'm saying? Use your platform to build theirs up. I said, don't get these folks free advertising. That's what I said to you sitting in my den. He said, you know what? You're right. Then we went on and we talked about the young lady whose podcast that you were going to go on. And we saw that her following, you had 22,000 followers. She had maybe 4,000. We sat there in that den and I said, I don't think that's the move. I don't think you should do that. I said, she's like, but I want to get my book out there. Well, this is what we can do. And I'm so glad that when I have conversations with you, I have witnesses. I said, this is what we can do. I said, we could use your dad's Facebook page. I said, we could use your dad's YouTube channel. And I said, and we can have an intimate conversation. I said, that way you could talk about your book. You can do little snippets about what you want to say, how much you want to say about your book. I said, we know what questions to ask and what questions not to ask because you don't want to give too much out about your book and the info that you got in there. You know what I'm saying? I said, and you was like, you know what? That makes sense. I said, here's the thing. We can do it just like we did for your daddy's, we can do it just like we did it for your daddy's birthday. That way you'll get all of the followers from his Facebook page as well as his YouTube channel. I said I'll get with Jay so that we can do it in the studio setting. You said, okay, well, how much is Jay gonna charge? I said, I don't know. I'll get with Jay and I'll let you know. I said that way it'll be professional because this is a book. It's supposed to be professional. And you said, okay. Now, the next thing we talked about was the fact that your dad did not want to be remembered as the cussing pastor. On your daddy's deathbed, your daddy said he did not want people to be addressing him as Jamie. I got her. He did not want people to be say cussing pastor because he denounced that himself. Right? He was trying to get himself together, get his life right. He knew that he was dying. He asked us on his deathbed, had you been there, you would have known that he begged us and made us promise him that we would not let the cussing pastor legacy go on after his death. So I asked you kindly on more than one occasion. I said, can we please stop using the cussing pastor hashtag? Can we please stop saying cussing pastor? He did not want to be associated with the cussing pastor. You sat here and you said, you know what? You right. He did. Okay, I'm going to take the cussing pastor out of the equation. I said, okay, thank you. These are the things that we agreed upon. Okay. That was that Friday. That Sunday, Crystal invited all of us over to her home for dinner. Okay. She invited us to her home. She opened up her house to us. We went to Crystal's house. Y'all got there before I did. Okay. We got there. Crystal had cooked dinner and everything. We sitting at this woman's table as 4 adults who are grieving the same individual. The number one common thing we had in common was Thaddeus. And we were bonding. We aired everything out. If anybody was feeling any type of way, we put it all on the table as 4 grown women. Again, we talked about the cussing pastor and what your daddy did not want and what we agreed upon moving forward to move his legacy forward. We did that as 4 grown adults sitting at that table. Okay? You said you understood then. All right? That was that Sunday. Matter of fact, I had to tell you, I'm tired. By this time, it's 9:30. Crystal telling y'all she getting ready to remodel her house. You walking all through this woman's house talking about what you want, what furniture you want, what pictures you want, how beautiful her home was. She was telling you she was going to give it to you when she got ready to remodel her home. I had to tell you, I'm going to leave you. Girl, I'm tired. I'm getting ready to go. Hold on, Mel. Now, this 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, that Sunday. That Monday, I get a text message from you. That Monday. And your text message said, are you in class? When you text me that, I know something is wrong. Okay? I know that something is wrong. Jamie, leave her alone because it's distracting me. Yeah, I'll get her. Don't worry about when it's all over. I'll get her. All right. But that Monday, I get a text message saying, yeah, are you in class? And I said, I knew something was wrong because if you don't text me unless I'm wrong. So I picked my phone up and I called you. And I said, what's going on, little girl? And you was like, you in class or no? I said, but I know something wrong with you because you don't text me yet. So you said, nothing, I'm just mentally drained and frustrated. And I was like, what's wrong? You was like, nothing, last night was just too much. So now I'm like, wait, what you mean? What? I'm like, what about last night? Because Jocelyn had sent us this big, long, beautiful text message that Monday morning saying, hey, y'all, we're starting off on a new foot, blah, 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 blah. Let's all have a positive week, blah, blah, blah. We all said amen. So when you text me, I'm like, what didn't happen? Did I miss something? Okay. All right. So, anyway, you proceed to say Crystal. And I'm like, what about Crystal? I don't appreciate the way Crystal came at me, asking me, talking about, do I have a drinking problem? Who is she to come at me like that? And I'm a grown woman. And I was like, I don't think she took it. I don't think she meant it that way. I said, she meant to me, she was concerned. She shared some personal information with you with what she's currently dealing with in her own home. And she asked you out of concern, like, did we need to be concerned about you and your drinking? Okay. And she asked all of us. She asked me that as well. She asked Jocelyn. I even said, well, I ain't gonna lie. I have been having more glasses of wine than I normally have. I admitted to it. Jocelyn said the same thing. So nobody took offense to it and had no way of knowing that you took offense to anything either. So what I said to you was this. I said, well, if you felt some type of way, why didn't you say something and took her sitting at her table? Because then y'all would have been labeling me as being a drama queen. I said, no, ma'am. I said, that's supposed to be our safe haven. I couldn't, if you felt some type of way, I said, to me, this right here is sort of petty and fake. I said, because I'm not going to sit in somebody's home, sit at their table, and they offend me and I not say something, especially when we're all saying that we're supposed to be a support system for each other. I said, I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to let it all, I'm going to put it out there on the table right then and there. Well, I mean, I said, well, that's my daddy friend. She ain't on my, I said, but that ain't what we just said last night. I said, see, I figured you would have it. I figured you was going to take us. I said, it's not about taking anybody's side. I said, it's about being on the side of right. And I said, I just really feel if you felt some type of way, then you need to tell her that that's how you felt, because this right here, it's not going to cut it. Then you went right back into the conversation that I thought that we had cleared up that Friday, where you felt like, well, man, I feel like it's their issue. Why you not promoting my book? And I said, it's not my job to promote your book. And I said, Domonique, I thought that we had handled it and squashed this Friday night. We back on the same thing. Then you go into and you say, well, I'm being judged by Facebook. I ain't got time to be worried about my own circle judging me. I said, so what circle are you talking about? I mean, you, Crystal, and Jocelyn. I said, and how are we judging you? Because if we feel like you're doing something that maybe you shouldn't do that could cause you more harm than good, and we're telling you that out of love for you, now we're judging you. I mean, I can grieve the way I want to grieve. You can. Nobody is not telling you that you can't grieve. All we're saying is that there's a way to do everything. And when you're lashing out and you're doing things that is actually having an effect on the people around you as well, then if we didn't love you, then we wouldn't say anything. We'll just let you crash out. But your comment to me was this. Well, if I can say what I want to say, or whatever I want to post on Facebook, I saying you can. Who's saying that you can't? I mean, I just feel like everything I do, y'all judging me. I said, but who's telling you that? Because we're not saying that we're judging you. So why do you feel that way, right? Like, what do you mean? Well, I'm just saying I'm gonna do what I want to do. I said, and you can. I said, so what you're telling me is that if I don't agree with something that you do or say, and I let you know that, now I'm judging you. Well, I don't need your opinion on it. I was like, oh, well, I said, Domonique, I don't do one-way streets. I don't do one-way streets. If you just feel like you can call my phone, you can vent, you can say whatever you want to say, you can come at people sideways, whatever you want to do, and that I'm not supposed to say, well, no, I don't think that's right, or I don't think that's the case. If I can't have an opinion, or you don't want to hear my opinion, then we don't need to conversate at all. And I told you that Monday on that phone, I said, you know what, moving forward, I said, anything that you do or say, I don't have a comment. I don't have a comment whatsoever. I said, what you do is what you do, Dominique. I said, I'm just going to shut my damn mouth. I don't have anything to say. Don't ask me my opinion on nothing. And I mean it. That was that Monday afternoon. That Tuesday morning, you sent me a text message and you sent me the back cover of your book. I looked at it. I had an opinion, but I didn't text you and say a word. I didn't like the cover. I didn't respond to your comment or nothing because I told you that previous day. Moving forward, you don't have to worry about me saying nothing. No matter how I feel, I'm not going to say anything because I don't need you talking about I'm judging you because I told you it ain't that serious to me. And I meant that. And you got offended because I didn't say anything to you about your cover when you just told me the day before that you don't just let you say and do what you want to do. Don't say nothing. You can't pick and choose when you want me to actually say something. Like you can't do that. So I took my hands off of it, okay? You agreed that Friday that you was going to take that Cussing Pastor name off of the title of your book to honor your daddy's wishes. Yeah, that's what you said. And then you went right back after we had that whole conversation, and you went right back, and then you went back to posting and tagging him, tagging your daddy name, and tagging hashtag Cussing Pastor. I said, okay, I'm not going to keep on. I'm not going to keep on going back and forth with Domonique on this issue. I know what to do. Since you can't respect what Thaddeus last dying wish, one of his last dying wishes was, then I'm gonna do it for you. So it wasn't a surprise that you were going to get blocked because I asked you to stop that. I asked you to stop trying to build a legacy off of the Cussing Pastor, okay? All right. Now, Jocelyn attempted to have a conversation between the three of us on the phone. I said, okay, cool. I said, but I'm not going to be going back and forth. I'm not going to be going back and forth with Domonique on no yelling on no phone. But no, hold on. Let me backtrack 1 second. The day that you woke up and found out that I blocked you, you didn't ask me anything. In our group chat, I want to say maybe 5:30 in the morning, between 5:30 and 6 o'clock in the morning, my phone blowing up. And I'm like, who in the world is texting somebody at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning? I didn't even get it and look at, well, yes, I did. I picked my phone. I said, I'm not even finna deal with this at no 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. Not happening, okay? So what I did was I waited until I know that we all are up, because typically all of us are at work by 8 o'clock, all right? So I waited until about 8:30 in the group chat. And your ex, and y'all, I can't, okay, because my phone here, I was gone. But basically, you didn't ask me anything. What you said in the group chat was, Melanie, what did you do? What did you blow down my daddy, babe? Why would you do that? I said, and I looked and I said, are you kidding me? And you just went to going on and on and on and on. So when I responded to you, I said, first of all, I said, the fact that you didn't ask me anything. I said, I find your choice of words, I said, offensive. I said, anytime you type in all caps and you use exclamation marks behind it, several of them behind it, I said, I considered it yelling. And I said, and I don't do well with folks yelling at me. I said, so it took me a while to respond to you. That's because I wanted to gather my thoughts before I said anything to you. And I said, yes, I removed you. They even tried to tell you in the group chat to calm down before you say some stuff that you're going to regret later. I think somebody trying to pull a lie. And all I said to you was this. I'm going to ask you to calm down and think about what you're doing and saying, because you're not going to be able to come back later. You're not going to be able to come back later and say, well, Mel, I'm sorry. And the reason that I said you weren't going to be able to come back later and say that you were sorry, because this ain't the first time that you have crossed me. Let's be truthful about it. I wasn't even dealing with you. I wasn't even dealing with you before your daddy got real sick, because when you and the last time you and your daddy fell out a couple of years ago, and you and your dad was beefing online, you were so mad at your daddy that you included me in y'all drama. You did a whole live talking about your daddy didn't have checking accounts. Your daddy only married me because he needed some insurance. He didn't love me and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, excuse me? And I told your daddy then, I said, let me tell you something. I said, that's your child and you love her. And I ain't, as your wife, I ain't gonna never tell you that you can't support your child. I said, but I'm done. I said, I don't care if that girl ever speaks to me again in her life. I said, because see, I don't play little girl childish games. I don't do it. And I said, once you show me who you are, that's exactly how I'm going to take it. I said, I'm done. I said, your child don't have to worry about saying nothing else to me. Now, before you did that live, you text my phone because you and your daddy got into it. That was like the day before that. You and your daddy got on the phone. I was on the way taking your daddy to the hospital when you called, blowing up his phone, acting a fool with your daddy. He was on the way to the hospital. And then you text my phone. What type of woman are you? If a man, this man don't give a damn about nobody. And if he'll call his daughter out his name, what you think he gonna do to you? That just speaks to what type of woman you are. And I politely text you back and told you, don't you ever come at me sideways like that, because I don't play those games. And then that's the next day when you went live because you was mad at your daddy and you threw me under the bus with you and your daddy mess. I ain't never had nothing to say or do when you and your damn daddy was into it with each other, because it wasn't none of my business. All I did in the background was encourage your daddy that he needed to have a relationship with his children. Now, once you did that live, I was done with you. You text my phone and told me you don't give a damn if your daddy die. You said you don't give a damn if he fall up under a damn bus. Don't call you. You said if your daddy died, you didn't even want to know about the funeral. That's what you text me and told me. I said, okay. So the next few hospital visits that your daddy did, I didn't call your phone because I said I was done with you. I didn't call you. But that last time your daddy got real sick, my mom and my auntie, and there they go. Mel, you do the right thing. You do what's right. I don't care what she said she didn't want to know. You do the right thing. We raised you right. You do the right thing. So I put my pride to the side and I called you. And I said, I know you told me that you don't care what be going on with your daddy. Don't call your phone. Don't text your phone. I said, but I'm not going to let something happen and your daddy pass and then I didn't call you. I said, because it would hurt me if something like that happened to my dad. I said, so I'm not going to do that to you. He was at St. Francis that particular time. And you said, I'm going to come up there. I said, okay, you need to come up there. And then I called Jocelyn. Okay. These last 2 years when your daddy was sick, I cooked dinner and we invited y'all over. Because I had convinced Thaddeus that he needed to tell y'all how truly sick he was. And when your daddy tried to downplay it a little bit, when y'all got ready to go, I walked y'all outside. I walked you and Jocelyn outside. Like I said, I'm so glad that I have witnesses when I have conversations. I walked y'all outside and I said, y'all daddy not being 100% honest with y'all. And you was like, what you mean? I said, your daddy is sick. And I said, and I'm going to be honest with you. I said, they have not diagnosed it. I said, but I'm seeing a difference in Thaddeus's behavior and his thought process, which makes me feel like he might possibly be getting dementia. I don't know. I said, but I'm going to share it with his doctor when we go for his next checkup. And y'all said, with Mel, whatever, Justin Mel, whatever you need from me, you just let me know. Me or the boys, just let me know what you need. And I said, okay. Domonique said, you said, yeah, we here for you. I said, okay. I said, yeah. I said, because I said, this is a lot. Okay. So you knew. Ask me how many times you came over to the house to do anything, to help me with anything, to give me a break with anything. But yet you want to come and talking about some, your daddy had 9 wives. What's a wife? I'll tell you what a wife is. A wife is the same somebody that buried your daddy. That's what a wife is. A wife is somebody that even though this man tried to tear me all the way down, you know what I'm saying? I still stood 10 toes down for him. Even when he probably didn't deserve it. I still did the right thing and stood by your daddy. This wife, number 10, that you say they really ain't got no rights to nothing. I could have took my damn insurance policy, even though it wasn't much, but I could have took it and I could have spent it on what I wanted to spend it on. But instead, you know what I did? I buried your daddy. That's what this wife did. What did you bury? Okay? What did you bury? You tell me out of the 10 years Thaddeus and I was together, and out of the 10, we lived together, damn near 9 of those. How many times did you come and visit the house? Because I know I can count the visits. You want to be real, you want to do story time? I'm doing story time for you. Because I don't even understand why you would even attempt to get your butt on this darn internet and try to paint a picture like Mel just was so low down. I just went and I blocked you from your daddy's platform because you were not about to let somebody else make some money off his darn name. And you were pushing the Cussing Pastor narrative after I told you that man made me promise him that I would not do that. So yes, I blocked you from the platform because I didn't want Cussing Pastor splattered all over YouTube and Facebook. That's why I blocked you. And you said it in your story time that I didn't block you from my page. No, I ain't had no reason to block you from my page. For what? I blocked your daddy's page because I didn't want people to think that your daddy didn't let people use his platform to make money. You think I was going to let people do it after he died? And I shared this information with you so you knew that. Okay? You knew that. Now, let's talk about the days leading up to your daddy's death. Because, see, your daddy been sick a long time. And I sat back quiet a whole lot of time. Now, was I the perfect wife? Nope, I wasn't. Nobody's perfect. And I've never claimed to be perfect. You said it so. You said it so yourself. You told your daddy, remember, nationally, on national TV, you told your daddy, Dad, I'm not going to sit up here and lie like that woman ain't been good to you. I'm not going to sit here and lie like that woman ain't took good care of you when she shouldn't have, okay? Come on now. We not, so you going to come back and say you were lying? No, you weren't lying. Because you know that I did. But now that things ain't going your way, because I'm telling you certain things I'm just not going to allow to take place. I made this man a promise. And now you upset because I'm trying my best to uphold the promise. You mad and want to have people thinking that I'm low down because I blocked you off a damn Facebook page. Your daddy page wasn't even monetized. Your daddy didn't get paid for Facebook, even though he said he did. Your daddy didn't even get paid for that YouTube channel. Your daddy got paid by selling advertising because the local folks here saw his numbers from YouTube. They saw his numbers on Facebook, so they bought advertising from him. Facebook didn't pay Thaddeus. He stayed in jail too much on Facebook. YouTube didn't monetize him because he didn't know how to set it up, and they said that his page was too vulgar. So wasn't no money coming in from neither one of those platforms. I don't have to be jealous or low down about a platform. It ain't making me no money whatsoever. Okay? Let's just be really, really real with it. Now let's talk about leading up to when I first moved out last year, when I moved into my own home. Now, it hurt me to my core to go ahead on and move, but your daddy left me no choice. Because you cannot continue to keep getting your butt all on social media and stuff and talking about me and degrade me, hoping that I fall down a flight of stairs and break my neck, hoping I get ran over by 18-wheelers and lose my life. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be pulling, playing like you want to play with guns and all this kind of stuff. And anything that I say, I can back it up in text messages because you talking about some, you better be careful when you come through the door. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no telling what I might do. And I had to get it in writing that you came to the door with a gun pointed at me. I don't lie about nothing that I say. I back up everything that I say with receipts. So, ma'am, that home became a hostile environment between me and your daddy. So, yes, I got on down. Even though I knew that he needed 24-hour care, he know he needed health care too. But I'm supposed to put my own health and safety, keep putting my own health and safety in jeopardy because of your daddy. I told you when I got ready to leave, I said, your daddy gonna need you. So don't say that I wasn't gonna tell you that you didn't know he was gonna need your help. Even behind the scenes, I'm saying, girl, look, your daddy needs you. But let's be honest. You went over there one time to clean up and called my phone and said, Mel, I ain't gonna be able to do this. I can't do this. I ain't gonna be able to clean up behind my dad. I don't see how you did this for this long. No, ma'am, I got a life. I got kids. I ain't got time for this. Okay? I ain't got time for this. Remember, you remember that conversation? Right? Okay? So now I'm still in the background. Trying to do things for your daddy. Even though he getting on my nerves, instead of trying to embarrass me on social media until I just finally went on and had to take matters into my own hands to get him off my back. And I did it. To get him off my back. And he left me alone. He realized I don't even know why I'm over here playing with this girl. Because I know she ain't lied about nothing that she'd have said. And not one time have I ever backtracked on anything that I said that I saw or knew as it pertained to my husband. So perfect wife? Absolutely not. But I did what needed to be done. Now, let's fast forward to the last couple of weeks coming up to your daddy dying, okay? I had to fly to Salt Lake City for work. Okay? Crystal said, Mel, I got it. She said, Mel, I got it. I said, Crystal, and I hate to put this type of pressure on you. Crystal said, Mel, this is my friend. I got it. I said, Crystal, I love you to death for that. My Facebook folks, y'all know I had to get y'all off Crystal because y'all thought Crystal was out of order. And I was like, no, Crystal cool. Crystal on our side because y'all will get ready to get on Crystal. So y'all know I ain't lying. But fast forward, I'm in Salt Lake City. Thaddeus' condition gets worse to the point to where they wanted to take him from just being in just general admission hospital. They had to get him over to ICU. I had to change my flight to get back to Memphis because at that point we didn't even know if he was gonna make it through the night. That's just how bad it was. Okay. So then I get back to Memphis, but while I was in Salt Lake City, we were struggling, finding a hard time trying to find Thaddeus somewhere to go. Because nobody wanted to take your dad because they were so afraid he didn't want to put his phone down, constantly going live. And I kept telling Thaddeus, put that phone down because we couldn't even find a nurse's facility to even take him because of all of the drama that your daddy was doing. So we battling trying to find somewhere for your daddy to go. So then when I get back from Salt Lake City, your daddy in ICU, and that was the beginning of the end. Now, the weekend, and you talk, I don't know nothing about my daddy saying no last wishes. Well, let's go on and tell the folks why you don't know. It's because you went on a girl's trip. You left your daddy on his dying bed to go on a Nashville girls trip while Crystal and Jocelyn and I had to sit there and had to hear the ICU doctor tell us there was nothing else they could do for Thaddeus. We had to hear the kidney doctor say every time we fix one thing, something else happens. You left and went to Nashville. We had a group chat. You didn't call us. You didn't text us that entire weekend and say, hey, is my daddy still alive? What's going on? Or none of that. Because you were too busy partying. You weren't here. You weren't here that weekend when your daddy was lucid enough to try to get his affairs in order, to say his goodbyes. You weren't here. You weren't here. You was in Nashville. And then when you got back Monday, you was at work. You know, that Monday when, he died that Monday, right? Monday the 24th, I think it was. Days starting to run together now. But you made sure you got up there just in time to try to snap a picture. Yeah. I allowed your daddy to have some conversations that weekend, his final weekend here, because I knew that your daddy was trying to make amends because he said he wanted to go to heaven. So regardless of how I felt about anybody or anything, it wasn't even about me that weekend. It was about honoring his wishes and letting a dying man say what he needed to say and do what he needed to do so that his soul could rest. That's what the hell I was doing that weekend. I know what I was doing, and I know where I was at. I know this for a fact. So that post that I made, yep, where I said there's a huge difference between grief and guilt, I meant every word of that. But don't act like I just posted that to be talking about you. No, I posted that because during that conversation that you and Jocelyn and I had, where Jocelyn tried to referee and let us have a conversation on the phone as two grown adults, you wouldn't stop yelling and acting a fool. And so I hung up in your face because I said I wasn't going to be doing no bickering and back and forth. And you want to holler about you a grown as one, all this kind of stuff. So I disconnected the call. And as soon as I disconnected the call, you went and did like a 2-minute video, basically want to say people want to try to dictate how I grieve and you ain't going to tell me what I can post. You were talking about me. I know you were talking about me because me and you had just got off the phone together. So you threw a subliminal punch. I just put it out there. There's a huge difference between grief and guilt. Because let me tell you something. Do I have my moments when I think about Thaddeus and that's all I can think about? Yup. Do you see it on Facebook? Nope. Do I get in front of the mirror and put on 2,000 pounds of makeup before I get on Facebook and go to boo-hooing and crying to make sure I'm recording myself crying because I want the people to know that I'm missing Thaddeus? Nope. You know why? Because when it hits you, it hits you. And it doesn't matter about what time it is or what the hell you looking like. It's just going to hit you. That's what grief does. Now, this falling out took place over almost 2 months ago. You choose today of all days to want to let the public know that you and I are at odds and we haven't been talking. No, I call it a publicity stunt. That's what I call it. That's what I call it. And have I said every single thing? No. Can I say more? Absolutely, I can. But you know what? It's starting to piss me off. And I'm going to be said some stuff that I don't even need to say right now. You know what I'm saying? But it's stupid. It's stupid because I know that beyond a shadow of a doubt, even when you didn't deserve my forgiveness, I gave it to you. You came at me sideways on 3 separate occasions and you questioned my womanhood and talking about what you wouldn't do as a wife. Well, you can't say what you wouldn't do as a wife if ain't nobody never made you name. Clock it. And I don't know if people in your ear or what it is, but I don't know what would make you feel like you needed to bring it to Facebook, but you already know I didn't let your daddy get on Facebook and try to tarnish who I am as an individual. You think I'm going to let you do it? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I'm not. I'm dealing with my own issues over here. I'm still trying to get my own health together. I don't have time to be going back and forth with you on no darn app about nothing, period. And anything that I say, I can back it up 100%. Receipts always on deck. Now, your daddy did some videos, sweetheart. Your daddy did some videos and he had some keen words to say about you. Did I release it? Nope. You know why? Because at the end of the day, I wouldn't want to hurt your feelings, but you do this to me on Facebook, knowing damn well that I ain't just decided to get up and be low down to you, knowing darn well I ain't mad at you about writing no damn book. I don't care about no book. It ain't about no money to me. I ain't never had no money. It ain't about no money. But you clout chasing at this point. You want to use your daddy's platform to sell the book, and I was going to let you do that, but you can't cross me and come at me sideways, and then you had the audacity to basically say that you, your sister, and your brother, the last Matthews standing, basically, y'all his bloodline, and you're absolutely correct. You are. And I've never tried to keep you, your sister, or your brother from anything. You said you didn't have access to none of his belongings. Before your daddy died, you was asking for shit. Let me take it back. Let me fast forward. Let me backtrack for a minute. See, more I talk. Let's tell the folks about the Father's Day. Let's see, 2020. 2, I think it may have been, where we were all sitting at Outback. Me, you, Jocelyn, the boys, your baby, and Morgan, because you know he wasn't going nowhere without his Morgan, right? But we're sitting at Outback, and we were talking about your daddy's health then, and you look your daddy straight in his face, and if I'm lying, I got proof. Your exact question to your daddy was, so daddy, when you die and I become an orphanage, how much money are you leaving me? How much money am I going to get? And your daddy said, what? Jocelyn put her fork down. The grandboy was like, did she really just ask him that? And I looked, because this was the look on my face like, what? And your daddy looked at you and your daddy said, not a damn thing. Your daddy said, not a damn thing. And I proceeded to say, hey, you need his social security number and his date of birth so you can get your own policy on him. But then I had to remember, you tried that. You couldn't afford the policy, so it lapsed. But yeah, you looked your dad in his face and asked him when he died how much money you was getting. And this was us sitting at Outback. Your daddy was eating on a steak, and you was too busy trying to put him in the grave. So, leave me alone. Leave me alone. You one of the last Matthews standing, but you denounced him. Your name ain't even Matthews on Facebook. I don't do negativity. I try my best to stay positive on this blue app. You know what I'm saying? I really do. And if you hadn't did your little story time, I wouldn't be on Facebook now. But you know, I don't do that thinking you gonna say some stuff about mail and not come back. Now it's plenty more that I can say, and it's plenty more that I got to back it up with. But I would just say, hey, you done did your story time, and I done did mine, and we just need to leave it alone. Now, if you want to continue, by all means do so. Like I said, it's videos and everything. Your daddy told me you was going to be a problem. And I said, no, she's not. I said, she ain't going to be no problem for me. I said, because I don't do games, and I ain't going to be arguing and going back and forth with nobody. I told you after I cussed you out last year when I got out the house that I wasn't going to keep on going back and forth with you either. So I'm definitely not going to let nobody else run my blood pressure back up. Not finna, I take too much medication for that. So, not happening. But he did try to warn me. Your dad ain't got nothing, baby. He ain't had nothing before he died. He lost the house. I ain't never lied about nothing, okay? Your daddy and I were separated. We didn't have a legal separation, but I had my own home before your daddy went all the way down. I was in my own home doing my own thing. Your daddy posted videos of him with another woman. Your daddy did a whole show talking about how he had screwed so many times that weekend, how tired he was with another woman. I didn't care, sweetheart, because I was over here in my own place, minding my own business. So I didn't have to pretend like I was not a woman and doing my own thing. I never said that I wasn't, period. Never said that. But I didn't have to, because I went under his roof and he went under mine. But when it mattered the most, I did what I need to do as his wife. So, yep, whether you like it or not, I am going to say that my name is Melanie Matthews. And whenever I want to sign it as Melanie Matthews, I'm going to do so. If I want to sign it again as Mrs. Thaddeus Augustus Matthews, I can do that as well. Because I got legal documentation in there that says that I can. You couldn't wear his clothes. So let's be honest. And the most valuable things that he had were those watches. I could have been low down and kept them, but I didn't. You was asking for the stuff before I could even get a chance to grieve and go through and see if I wanted to keep anything. And to appease you, I went ahead and I gave the grandchildren the watches. So come on. You upset because you felt like you were supposed to have access to passwords to the Facebook page, to the YouTube channel. And I said, no, ma'am, I was not about to let you go over there and defame the Facebook page or the YouTube page like you did when we called ourselves doing his birthday celebration. It was supposed to be a happy birthday celebration. You clocked the T. You popped off. You popped off on the activist lady. You know what I'm saying? Had the woman thinking that I'm coming at her sideways because I'm stuck in the crossfire. So no, I was not going to give you the credentials to neither one of those pages. For what? So you could turn it upside down? We were already talking about coming together, doing some positive things. We were going to need those platforms to do so. So even though maybe he did, maybe, you know, people had forgot about a lot of the good that he did because that Cussing Pastor stuff overshadowed a lot of that. We had already talked about we was going to use the platforms to do positive stuff, but you wanted to go over there and tear it down. I wasn't going to let you do that. So if I'm low down and I'm vindictive because I blocked you off of his page, then oh well. And the block was only temporary. It was only going to be temporary until you popped off and was very disrespectful. Basically told me your dad had many women, like told you said about the insurance. So you came at me sideways like, girl, my daddy didn't care nothing about you. And you think that I'm going to have some talk for you? Really? But you ain't tell them folks in your story time how disrespectful you were. And even after I asked you not to be, you continue to do so. So it is what it is at this point. Okay. So yeah, that's my story time for now. If I have to come back with some more, I will. But hopefully we'll let it go. But one thing I'm going to always do is defend my character, me and my imperfections, because I'm definitely not perfect by any means. Nope. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. And okay, I will, Valerie. Yep. All right. Well. Look, thank y'all for tuning in, but I just had to let y'all just go in on and understand. Like, nah, I don't just do stuff for just no reason, just out the blue, wake up, want to be low down and vindictive and dirty to nobody. Okay? Now, let me get ready. I'm always on my lunch break almost over. In case y'all were wondering, yep, I'm at work in my home, but I was on lunch break. So let me get ready to go back to minding the business that pays me. And I will see y'all later. Peace.